Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Special guest on the line. You may or may not be live on stream right now.
I may or may not be live on stream right now.
Yeah,
That's what I like to hear.
We're probably live on stream right now. We are live on stream right now.
Let's go.
Welcome. Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, guys. My name's Jahzo. I am the manager and coach of G2 Esports, and I'm happy to be here.
Manager and coach of G2 Esports, Jahzo. Thanks for hanging out, dude. What did you think of that first match there from G2?
I think it was pretty entertaining. I think you did a great job casting, and I think you were able to showcase what our new squad is capable of, especially against a tough opponent like Bob's Ramen. You know, I think they're up there for the race at top and A. What do you think?
Bob's Ramen?
Yeah.
You know, they did 3-0 in their first round, but I think it might be a fair stretch to give them any hintance of, you know, they're gonna get swept probably every time by G2. That's not anything against them though. I'm sure they'll be great maybe at some time in the future. By the way, the new lobby's up. Do you mind, Jahzo? Do you want to hang out and we'll watch G2 again?
Let's go.
Is that cool?
I'm totally down for that.
Okay, let me get this situated here.
Let's see. I think my guys are orange again. They should be making the game.
Cool.
They have the info ready.
I'm hopping into the lobby. Hopping into the lobby now. All right, what else? Who are they playing here? They're playing against Brigade Esports.
You know, I've never heard of this squad, so
and
it'll be interesting to see how.
Oh man, I didn't even add you into the game. Do you have the ability? Well.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I guess you can just watch the stream a little, or you can just hang out, or what?
I'm in the match.
Oh, okay, cool, perfect. You beat me. Well, Jahzo, if you don't mind, talking a little bit about your team. I gotta just edit real quick on these graphics.
Sure thing. So we picked up Chicago recently. We've been scrimming a lot, getting ready for the WSV qualifier. It's a big event, first true test of what this new roster can do, and it's been looking good. We've scrimmed a wide variety of teams. Very happy with how we've been playing, both in results and in just how it's looked in general. And I mean, as you can see, we threw at Bob's Ramen. We get the leading goal right there against Brigade. So, I mean, looking good so far. I think Chicago really brings a certain play style to G2 that we were looking for when we were actually trying to replace the player in Kronovi. And it's really interesting to see how this new team actually works together. You'll find that Chicago is aggressive in his own specific way. For instance, when the opponent has the ball in their half, Chicago is really able to get in their face and just mess up plays. When we were watching Bob's Ramen was never really able to get a play going, maybe except for the one time where they scored in Game 3 there. And that's largely in part due to Chicago just being that menacing force on offense and also in defense, technically, if it's against the opponent's outplay. So I think he really brings that defensive aspect as well as the offensive aspect in a junction that makes sense for the way we want to play.
So basically, you know, he's a pretty good overall player, and it fits into the style that you guys are looking for.
Exactly.
And that's something I noticed too. You know, Chicago, he's not afraid to get up, you know, get in the face of the other team. Is that kind of along the lines of why you guys made the choice that you did?
Well, yeah. So Crow wasn't really afraid either. It's just I think Chicago does it in a different way that Rizzo and Jknaps can rotate around. Whereas sometimes Crow would do it a little bit unpredictably or a little bit in his own way. But there's nothing wrong with that. I think he's going to find success doing that with Rogue. But Chicago just does it in such an organized manner that it complements Rizzo and Jake's play very well.
Cool. Well, I'm certainly excited, and I'm sure a lot of other people are excited to see how this roster develops. And so far, looking pretty good. Look at that nice little team play. Looks like that was Jknaps to Chicago. I wonder how often we're going to be saying those words in the year here in 2019. But there you go, Chicago adding another goal to his total, being in the right place at the right time, and looking for that pass. And you know, Jahzo, if you're just tuning in, we have Jahzo from G2, manager. He's hanging out, talking about G2 a little bit. And something that G2 has always been about is kind of their passing. And for me, that's what I'm going to be most excited about probably, right? It's like, okay, Chicago, that's some firepower. That's some offensive brilliance that's on this team. Not that Kronovi wasn't, but, it's just kind of along those lines. And I'm really looking out for those passing plays. Like, I'm sure you've seen plenty of scrims. Have you been seeing some fancy, 1-2-3 type plays from these guys? And how are you evaluating that chemistry right now between these three?
There's definitely been some moments where they're just clicking. I don't know if you caught it, but G2 posted a highlight reel of the first week of scrims we had, and it had quite a few of just straight 1-2-3 passing plays, as you said. And it's actually it's quite a sight to see. It'll be so quick, a span of a second and a half, 2 seconds. You'll have Rizzo to Jake to Chicago, and then it's a goal. And it's just it's amazing how fast these guys can get a play going. Unfortunately, they're letting a goal go in, but I think at this point, they're a little relaxed.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed when they're up 2-0, there might be a little bit more pre-jumping here and there. They certainly seem a little bit more relaxed.
For sure. But I don't think they ever stop trying to win. So I think we'll be good for at least this game. Brigade is keeping up though. Interestingly, didn't know what to expect from these guys, and they're really stepping up. It's not a 7-0 blowout or anything. There's no Brazil happening. So respect to Brigade.
And
at least in the first game.
For Bob's Ramen too, it was a sweep. But hey, the last game, they were only down by one. They're only down by one there in the last game. So that was cool to see. It can be a little scary when you see G2 on the other end of the pitch.
For sure. Although we were talking, the team and I were talking about previous events, specifically Gnarly 1, where they had a qualifier where a non-top 8 team in North America was able to qualify. And so we're always wary of these teams that pop up in our bracket that could potentially qualify and maybe even take us out. So we never lose respect for our opponents. And I think that's something to keep in mind.
That's so important, especially in open bracket play, as you mentioned. You never know. You never know who you're going to run into. You have to approach every match like it's the grand final in the RLCS or something. I think you have to have that mentality and attitude. But speaking of the bracket, and as we get into the next game here, it's a 3-1 victory for G2. It's going to give them a 1-0 advantage in the series. I have Jahzo, who is the manager of G2. Thanks for hanging out with me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. But as we get into the next game here, first I want to get your thoughts on the other teams in North America. Obviously, Kronovi going over to Rogue. EG bringing in Drippe. We have Ghost bringing on Arsenal. Can you give some of your thoughts on the North America scene as a whole?
The North American scene it's gone upside down, basically. Quite literally as well, with Evil Genius picking out someone from Australia. So I think there's been some big moves. I think each of the rosters that's made a move has big potential this upcoming RLCS season, as well as all the third-party events that are happening before them, including DreamHack, as well as the World Shutdown of Esports that we're looking at here. I really think that the race for top 4 is going to be the tightest race we've seen yet. Between Rogue, EG, G2 all making changes, trying to compete with the likes of C9 and NRG, who have had these outstanding rosters for so long. C9 just winning the World Championship. It's going to be a race for people's lives to get to this World Championship of the upcoming season. And I think it's a real test for people to prove that their roster move was the right one. Like, if you look at it, there's a real grudge match between Rogue and G2 because we dropped Kronovi for Chicago, and it's going to be, all right, so who was in the right? Is Kronovi going to qualify for World Championship? Is G2 going to qualify for World Championship? If they both, who's going to place better? So we have all these storylines approaching with all these moves, and I think that's really going to drive these teams to compete at the highest level we've seen this far.
Yeah, it seems like, every year, the skill gets tighter as well. With the promotion tournament, we got 2 new teams coming up into RLCS. And as you mentioned, all these roster changes, we'll have to see how it all shakes up. But, looking at the bracket, I'm sure you've looked all the way through it. Whoa, Rizzo!
That's a good shot.
Rizzo, what are you doing? I love it. I was singing the praises of Rizzo back in Season 2 when he was on Take 3. And I've always I've never stopped. That was awesome. Great play there from Rizzo. Solo play, mechanical skill, double touch, and that's a goal for G2 to tie it up. But I wanted to ask you about your thoughts on the bracket and this weekend in particular. You know, how much preparation G2 has been able to get, because, you know, this tournament kind of did pop up on people. Oh, wow, you know, boom, 100K Vegas tournament. You know, I mean, it's great, but it did pop up. You know, it kind of maybe took some teams by surprise. So there's maybe a little bit of a rush to kind of figure out, okay, who's our team? Who's playing? We got to practice. Maybe some teams are on holiday. You know, maybe Jahzo was on the beach in Mexico having a coconut margarita, and boom, we got a tournament here in late January. So can you talk about the team and maybe vacation time, or like how prepared they feel for January in Rocket League as Jknaps? Oh my God, what a goal. And that's a pass play, a very nice pass from Chicago, actually. Oh, Jknaps to Chicago, back to Jknaps, Jahzo. Okay, I'm starting to pick up what you're putting down. But if you don't mind answering the question I had there.
Of course. So, luckily enough, we did hear some rumors of an event coming up. We didn't know quite what it was, but we knew there was something coming up in January, or we figured there was. So we were able to plan accordingly. So unfortunately, Chicago was actually on break for a bit, so the actual acquisition of Chicago took longer than anticipated. We were able to scrim for enough time, I think. We had at least a week to prepare scrim-wise. We had a ton of replay reviews to get ready and watch ourselves and make sure we're playing as best as we want to with the time we were given. But for the most part, there were no vacations. I mean, Chicago, actually, there is a complication in that Chicago is actually still in high school. He's only 17 years old. So we do have time constraints. So we weren't able to scrim as much of the day as we wanted to. But I think our quantity of scrims was still up there.
Because he's probably started school already, I guess.
Yes, he started school on Monday.
Yeah.
So he's got to wake up early, doesn't get back till mid-afternoon, and he's over in California, so it's even worse. If he's getting back home at like 4 p.m. after school, and that's Pacific time, and we're all Eastern time, then the earliest you can scrim is 7 p.m. Eastern. And then when you have Jknaps, who's Atlantic time, because he's in the northeast part of Canada, by the time we finish 2 hours or 3 hours of scrims, it's already 11 o'clock, midnight for him. So that's one complication, but I think we were able to get enough done to where we were as ready as we were ever going to be for this weekend. And looking at the bracket, I think it's a good layout. I think with these lower seeded teams, we're going to get some good play in. It's a good, I wouldn't say warm up because that's disrespecting the teams, but we've got some good starter matches to prepare us for those deeper seeded matches. With the 4 different pools, I don't know if your viewers know that there's 4 pools that go into a final bracket. But I really like that layout. I think it actually it plays to our strong suits, which is ramping up as we play. So
yeah, it's just for anyone tuning in, it's just a massive double elimination bracket. Pretty simple, best of 5. I think we had 150 some odd teams sign up, which is really cool to see. But yeah, to your point, I actually really enjoyed how our blue team, Brigade, they scored first in this game. I enjoyed that because I think I think that we saw G2 start pulling out some stuff. We saw some really nice passing plays, really nice solo plays. So maybe just a little bit of a kick in the pants there with Brigade going up by a single goal early on.
It's good to see that we were able to bounce back though and not let it get to us.
Yeah.
But I like the fight from Brigade, like I said last game. Unfortunately, letting another goal there, but I think they have some solid rotation, solid play. Brigade.
Yeah, G2 turning it on a little bit. You know, we talked a little bit about it, but how does the approach kind of change on, you know, really long days like this, where endurance certainly is going to come into play? Like these guys, it's double elimination, best of 5. If they're going to try to qualify for Vegas, they're going to be playing a long time today. So how do you kind of prepare differently for these massive open bracket weekends?
Honestly, it's all mental. If you can mentally prepare and let yourself know full-heartedly that you are going to be playing for 6-10 hours, however long today is going to be, depending on how the bracket goes, then as long as you have the mental fortitude, I think you can handle it. You being any of the players that has a chance to participate in an event like this. another long event like this would be the RLCS qualifiers, which we haven't had to do since Season 4.
Right.
So it's actually been quite a while since we've had to play qualifiers this long. Which is, it's a good point that you make, that not everyone can handle playing for that many hours in a row at the highest level. So, I mean, in a way, we just do mental training. Some teams will scrim for 4 hours in a row. I think Rogue was actually trying to scrim 4 hours last night in a row. No breaks, no stopping, just scrimming. So I think there are teams that do that. There are teams that work on their mental fortitude. I think there's a bunch of different roads you can take preparing for a day like this. And you just have to find what works best.
Awesome, yeah. Thanks for that insight. But yeah, it's always curious to me. You know, some people in the chat are like, "Oh, you know, they play all the time." I mean, when it's competitive though, and when there's a lot on the line, and you're playing other really good teams, back to back to back to back. It can be a whole different ballgame that you need to be uniquely prepared for. As we see G2 win in game number 2, 6-1. If you're just now tuning in, I got Jahzo on the line, who is the manager of G2, hanging out with me, chatting a little bit about the team. As we move on into game 3.
You know, if for the scoreline being this big, I really think Brigade is doing a good job in the sense of playing Rocket League. Like if we look at Michael, he has 3 saves, he has 100% shooting accuracy. Like that's some pretty solid stats for a team that's losing 1-6 in game 2. Like if I were coming up against these guys in ranked, I don't think I would do very well. And this is a team, I'm not sure how long they've been together, but I think this is definitely a team that if they work together, we could be seeing them in the top 16 in North America someday, soon.
Cool. Yeah, playing solid. And this is that start for a lot of these teams. Just a massive open bracket to try to show their skills. And, you know, from a player perspective, for you probably, for me especially, you're grand champ, right? Or you're up there, right?
I am grand champion, yes.
Nice. You know, there is, as Jknaps scores very early on here, almost classic Jknaps ceiling shot in the first 5 seconds of the game. I'm sure G2 wouldn't mind if that became more of a theme. But, you know, based on your personal experience as far as the ladder versus 6-mans versus scrims versus tournament play, for you as a Rocket League player, like, what do you enjoy the most? Or you know?
For the limited times I've been able to actually join this team in both scrims and competition, there's been times where I've been able to play with them in an Astronauts tournament or things like that. I definitely think competing in a tournament style play is probably the most exciting way I've ever played Rocket League. So I'm sure Brigade, even though they're losing 0-2 in game 3, I think they're probably having the time of their lives.
Yeah, dude. I agree 2,000%. And that's why I tell everyone, just sign up for these tournaments, man. Even if you match up against these great teams, it's so much fun. Because I've had the chance to play with some of these top players, you know, in like scrim type environment. And it's like the most fun I've ever had playing Rocket League, period. Without a doubt. No question. It is so much fun. And when it comes to, like, you know, this turns into a question like this type of play. You know, you have ladder, you have these qualifying tournaments for the players, right? You know, they get a certain amount of enjoyment from going to the World Championship, from playing in these tournaments, from playing ladder, from playing 6-mans. Do these guys enjoy it? Like, do they have fun? Like, is this fun for them? Like, these long weekend tournaments? Like, how do you think they feel in that sense?
At the core, I wholeheartedly believe they enjoy it. I think at times it'll seem boring or stressful to them, especially with these long days coming up. But I think at the core, they're just excited to be back competing at the highest level, because especially since we're coming back off of a long break, the last event G2's participated in was the World Championship in the beginning of November. So I think when you have a break for that long, as a player specifically, just getting back into it. I mean, Rizzo, I could quote Rizzo right now. He said, on Thursday night, I cannot wait for Saturday. He was really excited to just get back in the swing of things. And I think at the core, that's true. There may be times where they get frustrated, they get bored, but I think at the core, it's just something they love to do.
Cool. That's awesome. I love it. And yeah, anyone watching, you know, look out for the next one. DreamHack qualifiers are coming up. I'm not sure those might still be open to sign up for, but it is a lot of fun to play in these. As we see, Jknaps doing a lot of fancy things right now. You know, G2, they're being a little fancy. They're up 3-0. They're going up for some aerials there, but we saw a fancy goal from Jknaps a little bit earlier. And this team is looking good. They're looking good, man. And I know this is early on in the tournament, so it's not like we're seeing the best of the best play quite yet. But I'm enjoying what I'm watching, and I'm looking forward to watching G2 as the tournament continues. After this match, we might do a switcheroo and go see another team. But Jahzo, I want to say thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for having me.
And coming on.
I'm glad I can answer some of your questions.
Yeah, dude, great to talk to you. And always, I love asking questions, and I love always hearing the insight that you have. So thanks for hanging out. And do you want to say anything to the chat before we have you step off after this game, after this match?
I mean, the only thing I really have to say is thank you to the fans that have supported us through this team change. I know there are a lot of Kenobi fans that weren't happy, but the people that see the real skill in this squad are the people that I appreciate the most. That the hardcore G2 fans, we wouldn't be here without you guys. G2 wouldn't be supporting us if you didn't support G2 and us at the same time. So I'm really thankful for all the fans that come out, watch the streams, go to events, get signings, and I just hope that you support us as long as we're a thing in Rocket League. So other than that, look forward to G2 playing on in this tournament. I'm hoping we turn up for you guys and prove that this roster move was the right thing to do.
Well,
as Rizzo and Jknaps had a team play.
That's a perfect exclamation period, I guess, for your statement there. As Rizzo, I'm sure he was happy about stealing that one from Jknaps.
I'm sure they're probably laughing right now, if I'm honest.
Yeah, but. and hey, you know they should be, and that's a great attitude to have. Try to win big, and then have fun while you're doing it. I think that's a good recipe to success, especially in a tournament like this. So we'll stay tuned to G2 and see how their tournament unfolds. I'm looking at the chat, by the way. Let me know who you want to see. Also, Jahzo, again, thanks for being here. And anyone else who wants to hang out, if you know me, I saw some people I recognize in the chat. You know who you are. Throw me a DM on Twitter, and we can hang out and chat. Gibbs is due at noon, so Gibbs is due in an hour and a half. Jahzo, any words for Gibbs, who used to be iBuyPower way back in the day?
When I'm asked who the best player in Rocket League right now is, I answer Gibbs. Because it's true.
Nice.
I don't think Gibbs has anything to worry about in this day and age of Rocket League. So, I am looking forward to hearing what Gibbs had to say about the tournament as he joins on in a couple hours. So,
cool. Well, I feel like it's almost guaranteed. We'll probably commentate a G2 matchup. So look out.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. G2 up 6-3 in this game. Number 3, best of 5. Round number 2. If you're just now tuning in, this tournament is a double elimination. Best of 5s all the way through. I like, Brigade peppering in some goals here. They're on the big screen right now. They're on the main broadcast for the tournament, and they're playing against one of the best teams in the world. And they're putting in a few goals here at the end, as they desperately need a comeback to happen. But I don't know about that.
They still have over a minute. It could be done.
Yeah, it's true. You know what I want to start doing? In my travels, in my experiences of observing games and commentating and whatnot, I want to just join the game right when the series ends, because I've had it happen before where some players stay and I get to play Rocket League with them. Do you think? Do you think G2 would be down? They'd probably just leave right away. You think, right? They wouldn't want to hang out with me, probably.
Well, I don't think they would even notice.
Okay.
because they're more focused on leaving the game. But I mean, I could hop in real quick and tell them to stay for a
No,
sec.
it's okay. It's okay. I just maybe at the very end. I'm gonna try to do it at the like after the grand final, after the qualifying matches. I might try to do that. So I wouldn't want to get in the way of these guys right now when they're all focused. But look out! I might jump.
Sounds good.
I might just jump in. Hopefully people play along. Are you West Coast or East Coast mostly when you play ranked?
I'm East Coast.
Okay. Well, hopefully
Chicago's West Coast.
hopefully I run into you one day.
Chicago.
Yeah, hopefully I run into Chicago one day too.
Oh yeah.
All right, final 10 seconds. G2. Actually, this is technically round 3 of the tournament, I'm pretty sure. G2 in round 3 of this double elimination best of 5 bracket. They're going to be winning 3-0. I want to thank Jahzo for hanging out and
Thank you as well.
co-commentating, answering some questions. Manager of G2, best of luck today, Jahzo. And maybe we'll chat a little bit later.
Appreciate it.
All right. See you later, Jahzo. We're going to take a short break here from the stream. We're going to track down the next match that we want to see. Let me know who you're looking for. I see some people saying Splice. I see some people saying EG. I see some people saying G2, and I know we've been seeing a lot of G2 already. So you know, we might not watch G2 until another couple rounds. I see people typing. Let us know who you want to see, and we'll see what we can do, especially if there's a match in particular. But I'm gonna look at the bracket, take a quick break, throw on some music, and we'll be back with the next match. Thanks for hanging out.